Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the findings of my research. Well, first of all, my name is Natalia Ruiz and I'm a postgraduate student from Universidad of Chile. Okay, so we're going to talk about my research called La Magdalena 2, an intersectional characterization of the language ideologies of the English language among women from La Pintana. First of all, I wanted to talk about the literature review that I went through starting my research, and I find a lack of intersectional scope in the linguistic discipline as a whole. Also, adding to that, I found that language ideologies research mainly focused on an educational context. For that reason, my objectives were to find the language ideologies of women outside the educational context. So these are adult women from La Pintana, a marginalized district in the metropolitan region of Chile that is also recognized for their low income and low educational levels. So my first objective was to find the instrumentality of the linguistic ideologies of the English language among this group. Second of all, I wanted to find the symbolic value of these language ideologies, and lastly I wanted to do an analysis of the intersection between gender, social class, educational levels, and motherhood. For my theoretical framework, I use the work of Crenshaw for intersectionality, the work of Philipson for linguistic imperialism, and also cross-critique for language ideologies. Among language ideologies, I used the language ideologies about the English language from Pennycock and Park Wee. I also use the institutional discourse about English open doors of Mater and Glass. Regarding my methodology, it was a snowball sample strategy. I interview in a semi-structured interview 11 women from the age of 32 to 46. They were all from La Pintana, and they were specifically located in the neighborhood called Santa Magdalena 2. Okay, so for the findings, I would say regarding my first objective about the instrumentality of the English language, first I asked about work opportunities and social development, and most of them answered that English was key to accessing job and better opportunities for their lives. The second question was in the hypothetical scenario where they would have learned English, how they thought their lives would be. All of them thought that if they knew English, their life would have been way better. One of the participants answered, si aprendiera a hablar inglés, yo sería otra persona, sería maravilloso. So here we can see how if they think that they would be a different person and that their life would be wonderful if they knew English. Lastly, I asked them about their daily use of the English language, and all of them answered that they didn't have any use for the language in their professional or work life. Second of all, my second objective was about the symbolic value So I asked them about what they thought English was, and they were all agreed that English was the best. One of the participants said, ¿Quién habla inglés? No, es maravilloso. No hay comparación, como que están arriba de uno. So here we can appreciate how they think people that speak English are in a different level. They are above them. So the symbolic value of this language is filled with symbolic power. Another question about the symbolic value was how they perceive English around them. So a lot of them answered that they saw the English language when they went to buy something at commerce generally. One said, como cuando vaya a Starbucks, hay muchas cosas de la comida rápida que llevan el inglés o para comprar ropa. So here they answered that they felt inadequate because they didn't understood things when they were buying food or clothes, or they were just asking for something to be delivered to their houses and they didn't understood the instructions. Another thing that they talked a lot was about the regrets of not learning English when they had the chance. For them, there was a chance to learn English when they were young, and that was over, and there is no possibility for them to learn English now. So they regret, and they talk a lot about the weight of this regret. They said, antes no había mucho inglés, uno no le tomaba el peso en el colegio. Another participant said, en mi mente yo decía, ¿para qué enseñan estas cuestiones? Que si sabemos, todos hablamos, este es un país de español, ¿para qué vamos a hablar inglés? So when they were young, they didn't find any argument to learn English, but now that they're adults, they regret it. Even though they still can learn it, they think that that ship already sailed. Lastly, for the intersectionality, I asked them about gender. One of the participants answered that our country, Chile, was a sexist country, that men had more opportunities for studying and to gain access to work. She said, los hombres tienen más oportunidades de trabajo por el tema de que si dejan trabajando a una mujer, obviamente van a tener guaguas y van a tirar licencia. Entonces los hombres no hacen eso. So she specifically talks about the difference of opportunities that women and men had in the Chilean society. Second, when I asked them about social class, there were two distinct answers. Half of the group talked about meritocracy, when they thought that if you work enough, you can succeed and you can gain access to anything. So one said, si te esforzáis podías hacer hartas cosas, podías trabajar, podías estudiar, si tú lo querís, no porque viváis en la Pintana o en la Magdalena vaya a querer ser menos, porque aquí también hay gente profesional. So that was one of the perspectives, that if you work hard enough, you can do anything in your life. But the other half talked about social differences, how the higher class communities, I talked about Vitacura, Las Condes, that are districts that are distinct for being high class in the metropolitan region in Chile. And they talked about how they have access to better education, to better spaces. One of the participants said, ellos ponen a los hijos en colegios en donde todos hablan en inglés, son bilingües, ellos llegan hablando inglés, hablan inglés desde guagua. Entonces es más fácil por ellos, y además la plata que tienen. So they understood the difference in social class, how higher classes had better access to education and have privilege to accessing to learn the English language. Also, when I asked them about confidence, self-confidence and education, they all answered that they didn't want to speak English, they felt like they couldn't do it. And also, lastly, when I asked them about motherhood, a lot of them were fulfilled by the achievements of their children. Someone said, sí, me ha llamado la atención, the English language, pero mi hija del medio le pone un texto y lo traduce, así que yo creo que por ese lado estoy tranquila. So when I asked her about her knowledge of the English language, she answered that her daughter can speak English, and she is okay with that. Not with her accomplishment, but with her daughter's accomplishment. So, as a conclusion, I point out one of the cases of these 11 interviews where there was a participant, the only participant that spoke English, and in paper, English opened doors. She was the one that was supposed to have all the opportunities, but this didn't happen because she was a teenage mother, so she dropped out of high school, and the father of her children was the one that kept on studying. So when he entered college and he had homeworks in the subject of English, she was the one doing them. So the capital of this knowledge was not used by her, but by her husband. So that's why it's so important to make analysis with an intersectional scope, because these kind of results cannot be analyzed with a standardized test, because if you take a test of English that says that you speak a lot of English, you're never going to have the results of all of her variables, so such as social class, motherhood, and levels of education, and the English language. Here she is a proficient speaker, but all of these variables don't make her successful as it's supposed to be. Lastly, I would like to highlight the importance of doing research outside the educational scope, because usually when we're studying just schools, college, students and teachers, we miss out on a lot of data for doing richer research. I would say the limitations of my research were I would have liked to do an ethnography, to speak with more women, and to see if I could have found women that were not mothers, because not as I planned, all of them were mothers. So I would like to know if there is a difference between the mother experience and the non-mother experiences. And also I would like to have a better retribution with the community. So this was the presentation of my findings. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Natalia Ruiz. Thank you very much.